The last story of the day is a really bad rookie mistake that I tell the story a lot, and we still have good laughs about it. It's always time. We kind of want that. Hello everyone, welcome to AvgJoeWatchReviews, and I've got a recurring special guest.
Hey, it's been
Josh.
too long.
It's been too long indeed. I got Josh from the Town Watch, and we have another special guest back, Caliper Mike.
Yeah, welcome back, Caliper Mike.
And also, if you're not already subscribed to him, give him a subscribe as well. But today's topic, we're going to talk about rookie mistakes, and we're going to be just fully transparent on some of the stupid things that we've done as watch collectors, and maybe you guys can relate. And actually, I would love to hear some of your rookie mistakes down below. We would love to read through them and share a good laugh.
Right. It's always good to be able to laugh at yourself, you know. And one of the first mistakes that I think a lot of people can relate to is when you're trying to do your own work on your watches, whether that's changing straps with a strap changing tool. You know, I've scratched up a lot of lugs. There are ways to do it that you can not scratch the lugs that I didn't even know about. I didn't even take the time to research. I wish I had, but I've scratched up some lugs, changing straps. Also, I scratched up my case back when I was trying to take it off on my Alpina, which is a little more higher end watch that I have in my collection. So. It was really tight on there. I took one of the cheap two-prong case back openers in just my hand, and I'm trying to pry that thing open, and it slips, scratch up the case a little bit. So what I ended up having to do was get one of those holders for the case, really screw it down in there tight. And then I actually bought a three-prong case back opening tool with a nice handle on it, and was able to get some good leverage. But
tips would you have for people out there that actually want to change out their lugs, or they don't want to scratch their piece? Like, what are some things that you've learned to prevent that?
Yeah, like if I think I watched one of David Schwartz's videos. I think it was him. He did a good video
I saw that. Yeah.
On changing straps and being careful. So check that out. But putting just even pieces of tape on the lugs where you might accidentally slip and scratch something, that helps out. Just a simple piece of tape, can do something like that. David
Schwartz used, and I remember he used something like this, like a really heavy-duty plastic, right? Mm-hmm. And he would put that on the case back, and then he would use the prong tool.
Case back too, right?
Yeah, so in case it did slip, it would actually just scratch the plastic. So that's David Schwartz. Idea. We are paying attention, buddy.
Yeah, shout out.
Shout out to you, buddy. So, yeah, that's really good example, Josh. I have one here. I was actually just showing Josh off camera. It's an Omega piece that I bought my then fiance. Mm-hmm. I had to start getting used to saying my wife. So, the mistake that I made was I bought this piece off of eBay. And I didn't look at the dimensions, and they took a really close-up photo, so the watch actually looked like this, right? It looked like a normal size watch. So I get it in the mail, I'm all excited, a great deal on the watch. I paid like $80 for this vintage Omega. This will be my fiance's first one, right? So this is what comes in the mail. I mean, Josh was looking at it, and he's like, "Is this?
Can you see it back here?
Is this for real? Like, it looks like a toy watch."
Really, it does.
And Janny just tried it on in front of Josh today, and I'm like, "I think your diamond is actually bigger than the face of this watch."
Like, you could put a ring strap on this, and it fits more like a ring to me. It's so small.
So the lesson learned here, like, we're not just going to give you guys our mistakes, but we're also going to give you our solutions, what we learned. So I learned that I need to ask questions. I need to pay attention to dimensions. I'm pleading ignorance because I didn't know how big watches were back in, I'm thinking this was a 50s watch, maybe 60s. And I already knew that men's watches of the era were like 34 millimeter.
Okay.
So we all know that women's watches are even smaller. This one here, I'm going to put the dimensions down below. And I'm going to give you some rolling shots of this. But this is probably the smallest watch both Josh and I have ever seen.
Yeah, no doubt.
So definitely ask questions and do your research prior to buying, because there was no way I can come back to the seller and say anything because, look, she put the picture up, she didn't have all the details there, and I bought it. So that's on me. So lesson learned.
And related to that, it goes the opposite direction with bigger watches than you're expecting. And
so the one thing I could say that I've learned is it's not even necessarily the case diameter that you need to look for, but it's the lug to lug. And for me, with my 7-inch wrist, anything 50 millimeters or below is pretty much not going to spill over my wrist. Mm-hmm. For Josh, it's probably going to be something like maybe 48 and below.
Close to that. Yeah, I don't like to go over 50.
Absolutely. So yeah, definitely you'll learn more about sizes, not just case diameter, but lug to lug, and just like what looks good on your wrist. And that's where like the actual physical stores do come into play for me personally. Yeah. Now, I don't pay retail. I don't buy watches from retailers typically. But what I will do is I will try the watches on. I'll take down the serial number, and then I'll go online if it did fit me well, and I'll buy the watch. And I think that's where I kind of use that to my advantage.
You can do that. Yeah, that's highly recommended. We do reviews. Reviews are really helpful to watch if you can. Yes. You're thinking about buying a watch, but reviews can only go so far. I mean, it's nice to see it on someone else's wrist, and you can kind of gauge, okay, my wrist is this size compared to him. So, but there's still nothing like going and trying a piece on if you can do it and really get a feel for the watch before you buy it.
Because, I mean, look, you got weight, you got, just how does it look on your wrist as compared to... Yep. There's been so many watches that I've looked at, and then I tried it on, I'm like, it just doesn't do it for me.
Yeah.
It's just that feeling. See, watches are just more than just, at least for me, it's how does it make you feel when it's on your wrist? And sometimes you connect to it when you look at it in a picture, but man, once you put it on your wrist, if you don't feel that magic, it's a no-go for me.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I agree.
All right, so what else do you got on your list there?
I think the last one for me is kind of a freak accident. It just happened the other day. I'm kind of embarrassed to talk about it, but if you know my channel, I film down in my basement, and it's really a dungeon. I call it the dungeon. It's my laundry room. It's the only space I have that's kind of quiet to be able to film. And so I have my area set up, a table, I have all my lights set up there that stay there all the time, so I don't have to set up every time, which is nice. But it's right above my kitchen. The table that I film on, my kitchen sink is literally right above it. So I haven't had any issues, but recently we had some issues with the drain and the the food disposal underneath the sink, and the sink was getting backed up, so I had to plunge it, and my father-in-law was there. He was trying to help me out, and I didn't even think about it, but I went downstairs to the dungeon to where I filmed to do something else, and I go in, and I just see water pouring from the ceiling, from the sink upstairs, all on my watch area. My box of watches was there, filled with my watches. I had watches that I was unboxing and going to review, and water was just puddling up and flooding down. And so I was just like taken back. It's like, oh no, this is a nightmare. And thankfully, all my watches have some water resistance, so I wasn't worried about, water damage on the watches.
But the packaging.
Yeah. So, I dried everything off, moved everything, and we got the sink fixed eventually. But it's basically, and thankfully nothing was destroyed, and even some of the packaging wasn't too bad, so I'm thankful for that. But it's just I don't know if you call it a rookie mistake, but just it's a warning to everybody: be careful where you store your watches. It was a freak accident. I never would have thought it would happen, but
there is a good lesson to be had here.
You do want to know where your watches are stored.
Yeah.
And don't store them under your kitchen sink.
Well, you know what? Actually, to piggyback off of your story, and I didn't have this planned, but as you were talking about it, this is a rookie mistake. Like, this was like quite a few years ago. Steve now from the Watch Corner owns this watch because my dog, I left, you know, it was a watch like this, you know, with a rubber strap. Left it on the table. It was during his puppy years. And he chewed on everything, so he chewed on the watch. Wow. Unfortunately, this watch was an Invicta. It was a uni. It was a silicone strap, but it was like a one piece. It actually connected to the case. Okay. So once you chewed the strap, the whole watch was pretty much done. So I gave it to a friend of mine, the Watch Corner, Steve. You guys probably know him. Anyone that's in the circle here. And he had it custom built, and he enjoys it now. So, but rookie mistake was, where do you store your watches? If you're just going to leave them around for your children, your dogs to eat,
something's going to happen.
Something's going to happen eventually. So that lesson was learned, and thank goodness it was only like an $80 watch. Yeah. So the last story of the day is a really bad rookie mistake that I tell the story a lot, and we still have good laughs about it. I once owned a Breitling Navy timer Homage. It was done by Rotary, and it came on a brown leather strap. Now, I didn't wear anything that really had browns or tans. You know, I was usually like a black and white kind of guy, maybe some blues and stuff, but it just didn't really, I never could find an outfit that it actually matched with.
Yep.
So I loved the watch, so I actually sold the watch. And as I got into watch collecting more, I realized that it would have costed me next to nothing to actually switch it out myself. It was always in my mind that it was going to cost me more for the strap to have it done by a professional and this and that in my mind. So I just sold the watch, and that's a regret of mine that I have.
Yeah, that's kind of funny. You know, a strap change, we know now, is one of the simplest things you can do. But back then, I mean, when you're new into watches, like, you don't know how easy it is. You don't even have a tool, probably.
Yeah.
So, it's fine.
I just didn't know that it was something that you could do. Yeah. And now we're switching out straps here on the table like it's nothing. So, lesson learned. You know, watch one of our videos and we'll show you how to switch out a strap. Yeah. For less than $5 for a tool. I mean, it's just rookie mistake. So I don't know. I enjoyed this, Josh. You know, it really shows how much we've grown. Mm-hmm. But I think it also shows maybe how stupid we could be sometimes, and how we can just laugh at ourselves. So again, I would love to hear your stories down below. It's a great opportunity for us to not take ourselves so seriously. There you go. Thanks for watching, and there's always time to be kind to one another. Please take care of each other, and we'll see you guys next time on Average Joe Watch Reviews. God bless, my friends.